Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining our Geomagic Control X Product Spotlight series. This webinar is focused on report customization in Geomagic Control X. I appreciate you joining us today, and I hope you'll be able to join us on future Product Spotlight webinars as well. And now I will pass it on to Jeff Moody, a Geomagic Application Engineer, as he'll be leading today's demonstration. Jeff, it's all yours.
Thanks, Adam. Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Jeff Moody, and today we're going to be talking about Geomagic Control X reporting. So standard Control X inspection workflow consists of three primary segments: alignments, inspections, and reporting on those inspections. Today we're going to be focusing on the reporting, and to start a report, we need to bring up our report generator. In the report generator pop-up, there are several different options here, such as selecting a template. A template includes all the predefined page layouts for each individual entity in the inspection routine, changing results if we have more than one inspection routine, and creating a title block. In addition, we can also add in a 3D PDF on this pop-up. Once we're done there, that'll take us into the report template editor. In the report template editor, we can change entities up, move them around, and depending on which entity we select, we'll bring up our different formatting tools. If we select a picture, it'll bring up the formatting for the picture, which gives us a bunch of unique options for pictures. If we select a table, the formatting tab will display for the tables with all of its unique attributes. And then if we select a text box, it brings up all the unique features or all the unique attributes about the text box. Lastly, we're going to talk about creating a custom report from scratch or editing an existing report to suit our needs. So let's get into Control X and start our demo. Here we can see we already have a couple inspection routines created, so now we need to create a report. To do that, I'm going to go into the Home tab, and under the Report group, I'm going to select Generate Report. Since I have two inspection routines displayed, I'll be able to choose between them here in the results. I'm going to select a template first. Then I'm going to select the second report because the first report is already populated in my selected entities. I'll choose all of the information in the second report. Using these arrows, I'll move them over to the selected entities. If I want to move a specific entity up or down in the list, I can use these arrows here. The position of these entities are important because this is how they will display in the report. Reference data will be the first page, measured data will be the second page, initial alignment will be the third page, and so on. I'll also add in a 3D PDF, and then in local custom fields, I'll add in all the specific information. Now I'll hit Generate to take us to the Report Template Editor. Here we can see we have a bunch of different features. We have 4 tabs, and the default tab is the accumulation of all 4 of these. So I can start with Generate, or I can create a new template. I can also export in a couple different file formats. Layout we'll talk about here in just a minute. I can add in a footer or a header, and I can enable that on the first page. I can copy and paste, undo and redo things, which are my favorite. I can insert different entities, such as a table, a picture, basic shapes, or graphs. Then I can change the font on any of these text boxes. In addition, I can select Arrange, and I can move things forward or push them backwards, so that I can create a basic layer system. And then finally, I can rebuild. This option is unique to our software if I have a picture that I don't care for, such as the initial alignment. I can go back into Control X, select that entity, send us to when that picture was taken, reorient the model to a better angle. That looks pretty good. I have a better image of the logo. Now I'll reassign the viewpoint. Once I've reassigned the viewpoint, I can go into the report template and then select Rebuild. This will rebuild just this picture. This is a useful feature within Control X because it allows the user to rebuild one image instead of the entire report. In addition to the default tab, I also have File, which again is just a collection of open, save, export, print, and I can change up the page margins, size, or orientation here. I also have Insert, which allows me to insert basic things such as tables, charts, standard fields, and illustrations. Lastly, I have View, which allows me to zoom in and out of the paper. I can start a slideshow similar to PowerPoint, which allows me to preview the entire inspection routine ahead of time. This makes it easier to notice any issues with the report. So let me go ahead and scroll back up to the title page. So we have several different entities here. We have a picture up on top, then we have a table in the middle, and then we have a text block on bottom. Now, depending on which one of these I select, a different formatting tab is going to display. So if I select the picture, the formatting tab displays, showing me all of the tools that are associated with editing pictures. Insert is the same as before, style is the same as before, arrange is the same as before. Really what we need to pay attention to is overlay. If I want this picture to move around freely about the page, I need to select overlay. This will also allow me to do different kinds of arrangements that I can push to the back or bring to the front. If I want to add in a custom caption, I can do that here. I can also change the font. And now that unique caption has become attached to the picture, and when I turn on overlay, it moves with the picture. I can also change the brightness, I can change the contrast, and I can rotate the picture 90 degrees left or right. The picture will change, but the custom caption will not. So when I select the table entity, really the only difference here is the information within the table. And when I highlight a specific field, that gives me a couple different text options here. I can go into the edit. That brings up the text in the table cell. And then it allows me to add in different features inside this table. In addition to that, I can also change the orientation of the information inside the table. I can do center, left, or right, top, middle, or bottom. Lastly, when I select the text box, that brings up the unique formatting ribbon for the text box. Since this text box was handwritten, I can change all of the information about the paragraph here. And again, I can use overlay or inserts, and I can change up the font or the arrangement of this. So that's all of the editing abilities in the current report template. But what do I need to do if I want to create a custom report template from scratch? To do that, I need to go into the default tab, and I need to select the layout option. Once I'm in the layout, I need to select the manage option, and then once the manage pop-up displays, I need to create a new template. To do that, I'll select add empty, and then I'll triple click on this name and change it to a custom name. Then I'll select OK, and then on the left-hand side, I will select that newly created report template. Here, we can now see that each one of these predefined page layouts is blank, and I can start making my report from scratch, or my report template from scratch. Keep in mind that this will only change information on this current report template. So if I select a different report template, that gives me all the options pertaining to that selected template. So now that I'm in the layout and I'm in the cover page, I can add in information. To do that, I'll insert maybe a picture. Then I'll enter down a couple spaces. Then I'll enter in a text box. I'll populate that with some text, and I'll have to adjust that text box. Turn on overlay and shrink it up a bit. Maybe just turn off overlay and then stretch that to the borders. Remember, this is not the actual border of the paper. This is the border, or this is the margin. Enter down again, and we'll put in a field. I want this field to be free floating, so I'm going to turn on overlay again. I'm going to move it to the middle, where I think the middle is, and I'll just put in some information. Then over here, we'll add in some custom field information. Looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and do one more. Let's create a custom reference page. And here I want to add in, like our typical layout, I want to add in 4 different pictures. So I'm going to select those here. And we'll just change them up a bit. I want to keep them locked. And I'm going to add in a right view. Ooh, they're too big to fit together. So instead, I'm going to shrink this down to 3.5. I'll shrink this up to 3.5 as well. Enter down and add in a couple more. Let's see, one more. $3.5. Good, maybe I'll add in a tab space to shove it over to the side there. If that looks good. And then on all of these, I'm going to go ahead and apply a border so we can see what's going on. Good. And we'll go ahead and add in a table. And again, I'll select a custom field options. And then maybe just do tab over a couple spaces and then add in one more tab. Or one more table. And we'll adjust those just a little bit. Good, that looks good. Now to accept this command, I need to exit the layout and then I need to regenerate the report. So instead of report 4, we'll see report 5 down on the bottom. So I'll exit the layout, go back to default, select generate, and make sure I'm on the correct template. And then select generate. Once I do that, I should see a new report template over here. And if I go down to my measured units, or I'm sorry, my reference, I can see that I have nice borders on my pictures, and I have my 2 tables. So this is how we can create a report template from scratch. Now let's talk about how we can modify an existing report template to suit our needs. And to do that, we'll go into Layout. I'll then select Manage again. And once the Manage pop-up displays, I'll select A4 Portrait and then I'll select Duplicate so I don't mess up A4 Portrait. Then I'll change the name. And then say OK. Then again, over here on the left-hand side, I'll select Custom A4 Portrait. And I'll look at the cover page first and say, I don't want this picture, I want a different picture in here. And say, okay, I'm happy with the rest of the information. Maybe I want the logo down here. So I'll go back in here and select the 3D Systems logo. And maybe we'll shrink it up just a bit. Let's try that again. It's a little bit better. Good. I'll remove an extra space, so I don't want that. I want my disclaimer to be on the same page. Okay, great. If I had extra information, maybe I don't want these page spaces up on top. That looks good to me. Let's go down to the reference and change up the reference in here a little bit. So here we can see we have the kind of standard things with the names, the date name, and all that information. Maybe I don't like the borders on these. Maybe I want the borders to be on all 4 of these, so we'll change that up to 2. I'll change the color to blue, a little bit darker blue than that. There we go. And then at the bottom of this, maybe I'll enter in a custom text field explaining what this is. We'll do that here. Good. So now I'm happy with that. I will then exit the layout, select Regenerate Report, and this time make sure my new custom A4 portrait is selected, and then I'll select Generate. If you like the standard CX reporting templates, this will be a much easier operation for you because all of our page templates are maintained. I'm just editing them to suit my needs. So here we can see our new title page. And then here we can see our new reference page.
Thanks, Jeff. This brings us to the end of our Geomagic Product Spotlight webinar on report customization in Geomagic Control X.